the ultimate power in the universe.
Last will be last.
I have a bad feeling about this.
You are now LightSaber Radio. If you only knew the power of dark.
Here it comes. Let's go.
You are now tuned in to LightSaber Radio. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello there.
We're here, we're back, and welcome to another episode of LightSaber Radio. I'm Charlie, and this is your weekly hive of bounty and tribute for anything and everything Book of Boba Fett. If you haven't already, make sure you smash that subscribe button, hit the notification bell to join our live shows on Wednesdays and Saturdays. And if you like this video, drop us a like, and it means the whole galaxy. Hi, everyone.
What's up? What's up?
I really enjoyed this half episode of the Ahsoka series. 10 out of 10.
All I gotta say is I am full of emotions. Lots of emotions.
So emotional.
Hey, it was great. It was great. But our whole argument about how Boba Fett sucks still stands. Okay, they still did Boba dirty. The show's great now, but the whole argument about how they ruined Boba still stands.
How did you guys feel about his 40-second cameo in this episode? Anyway, I'm not going to get this started off on a bad note. Hi to the chat. Hi to Chris. Hi to Dylan. Hi to Nick. Hi to Rob. Thank you, everyone, for joining us this evening. I hope everyone's doing good. This episode, my guys, right? I have cried at nearly every piece of Star Wars media that I have consumed. I'm a very emotional person, very sensitive. I sobbed like a baby. I cried from the minute the thing started to the minute the thing ended. Oh my goodness! What
the way that they drew you into that emotional stuff with Grogu and Luke. And, then, wanting to see him and, and then Ahsoka, the way she's talking, everything was very emotional. But that's what captivated you. And it took you away from realizing that there wasn't even no storyline in this episode.
You can straight tell this is a Dave Filoni episode, though. There was such great dialogue, but there was no story.
Dialogue, no story, and 100% a Clone Wars reunion, which I am so here for.
But there was one thing that made me very, very upset. Because they dropped a big-ass plot hole in this episode.
They did?
Yes. How the hell did Ahsoka and Luke meet up? We argued about were they going to fight the first time they met each other? What were they going to do? How did they meet each other? We had a whole episode where we talked about this. And they just skipped over all of that. They just skipped right over that.
We're going to get this in Ahsoka.
We're going to get it in Ahsoka. I think they're going to keep using flashbacks, particularly for these individual character-driven stories. We're going to get flashbacks and more explanation.
Especially since Hayden Christensen is going to be in Ahsoka. You're telling me we're not going to get a Snips in any moment?
Also, if you got the Galactic Republic / Becoming Empire who had Grogu, how did somebody else get Grogu? And now the Empire wants him again, which the Empire had him to begin with. Mm-hmm. So we're missing that whole story too.
Hey, now that brought up a very good. So let's give some background here. So we have a little group chat that we do back and forth all day long, and there were some very good points brought up about Grogu's. Where did Grogu come from? And, and how his flashback when Luke helped him, it only went back to the Jedi Temple during the raid of, when Anakin came to kill everybody.
The Jedi Purge.
Or Darth Vader, because he was Darth Vader at that time. This is the thing, that's something that popped in my head that I thought was probably the most accurate thing that could have happened. Now, you only have 2 of the species at the Jedi Temple. You don't ever hear about anybody else from this species, period. Nobody knows where they came from. Nobody knows anything about them. So if that's a fact, that there's only 2 left, even Yoda and Yaddle, or however you say her name,
Yaddle, Queen,
they would have to get together, and not as, I don't think in a way of attachment or being, but I think they might have done it to preserve their species.
Hey.
That's right. Grogu don't remember who his mother and who his father is. Because how he going to go back to just that point, but he don't remember Yoda. And Yoda's the only other creature, and Yaddle is the only other creature.
Chris, that's a good point. Yoda would be like 10 to 20 years old, so still like a real baby.
But you also
and that right there is like,
Go ahead, Garrison. Sorry.
No, that's like the ultimate, that's the ultimate shunning and denial of attachment from Yoda and Yaddle. Like, hey, let's just have a kid and completely forget about him and ignore him while the purge is going on. They're killing all the Jedi. Yeah, way to ignore your attachments.
I think that he got away because Yoda and Yaddle probably had a very experienced Jedi that was his protector, maybe.
Yeah.
And that's how he got out of the temple. Mace wasn't there. You know, Mace got thrown out of the building. You know, Anakin's gone. Obi-Wan's gone. You know, all the main Jedis were killed off in the Clone Wars, or you know, the speculation and what we seen, they were killed off in the Clone Wars. I think they probably had him a protector, and that's how he got out of the thing. And I think he was on somebody's back, and he was seeing what was happening as they were getting away. You know, that makes a lot of sense because
I didn't think about that perspective. Also, the other thing I wanted to point out, when Grogu's having that sort of flashback, it's the same effect that was used for Anakin's bad dream about Padme, Anakin's flash forward into the future, which 100% leads into mine and CJ's theory about Grogu and Anakin being a dyad in the Force together.
Okay, that's what I was going to pull up.
Yeah.
So the thing is, like I said in the chat, there's always two, like you just said, Kyle, there's only two at a time. Yaddle had already passed by the time episode 1 had ended.
But you don't know anything about their species. He could have been born.
We will never know.
We know.
Damn it,
so he's 50 years old now. Go ahead, girl. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
It's all good. No, I was saying, damn it, George, because George openly stated that he will never explain this species. He will never give us a reason or where they're from. Damn it. All I know is I think Yoda's from Dagobah, and that has always been my thought since the first time I said it. Saw it.
Yeah, now Star Wars, now Disney.
George said
Star
that
Wars,
Disney does not follow rules
at all.
I don't care.
Rules.
So that we might
call it a day if they do this shit. Sorry.
I think at one point in time or another, and I don't know when this could have, you know, when it could all fall through. But I think that Grogu is going to have his own series. I think that that's what they're pushing to. That Grogu will get his own series. Because this is the most wanted character in Star Wars. There's more memes about Grogu than anything else. There's shit that they got Grogu on every damn shirt at Walmart damn near. Grogu is like that's their money pit right there. So for them not to give him a series or give him, you know, some type of thing, because we all wanted young Yoda. Well, why not give us, instead of young Yoda, give us Grogu?
Dylan, please. Dylan.
And Luke is teaching him how to be Yoda. Look how he has him jumping around like Yoda does.
Jump.
That was my favorite part. He's like, jump. And he just went.
No.
Oh, come on, use the Force. And he goes,
when Luke says, that's it.
That's
Really?
Right.
That's all you got? that
like,
be
really,
laughing.
Really, bro?
My favorite bit was when they're sitting opposite each other and like Grogu sort of pulls the frog out of the water and he thinks that Luke doesn't know. He thinks that Luke is not paying attention, and Luke opens his eyes and goes,
yeah.
And it's the most human, like parental. Like I don't like some of us don't have kids, but you've looked after kids, and is that really what you're doing instead of your homework? You want to eat now? Just so much. And I'm sorry, there's so much in this episode. I have to take a minute to shout and scream about how much better the deep fake was this episode. First and foremost, the lighting in this episode was completely level the entire time, which meant there was no harsh shadows, no harsh contrast, way easier to set a deep fake face onto a normal face. Second of all, the first time we see Luke's face in this episode, he's completely still. He turns his head and that's it. And then we hear his voice off screen. So we're in our heads, we're connecting that face with that voice. So when we see it together for the first time and we see him properly talk, it's not jarring and it's not like Uncanny Valley. It doesn't feel weird.
It was very well done.
All I've got to say is it looked like Mark Hamill in his 20s, and I cried the second I saw his face.
I absolutely. They hired, I know you guys, like we talked about this if you like a while ago, YouTuber Shamook was hired.
Yeah.
He was the one who originally corrected, and his job title is a senior facial capture artist with ILM.
Yep.
Star Wars team leader. We will get to that because I am still a little hurt on
Oh.
that.
Oh, see,
We will
I'm
get to
going
that.
to be honest, Star Wars team leader. I
Well,
think
hey, this is my thing. And okay, we all know if they follow the timeline, Grogu is going to pick the lightsaber. But I think that when he picks the lightsaber and he says that he's going the Jedi way, because basically Luke is testing him right now on does he want to go with attachment or does he want to go with being a Jedi? But I think if he picks the lightsaber, Luke is going to give him the armor anyway.
Oh yeah.
I think Luke's going to, he just needs him to choose. You know,
he wants him to make the right choice. And then he's still going to reward him with the gift that Mando gave him due to the fact that it will protect him. Like he wants to teach Grogu. Like he said, I will teach you how to protect yourself in this dangerous galaxy.
but
You
going
really
back,
think if he doesn't pick the lightsaber, he's not going to get the armor? Like Luke's not that big of an idiot. Grogu's tiny. That would be dumb.
I'm cutting in a second to raise this point that's being brought up in the chat. Chris asked, do we know the planet that they're on? Looks like Fallen Order, Bogano. I actually found this out. This is the planet Elphrona, which we saw in the flashbacks of the sequel trilogy, and we learned its name in the Rise of the Kylo Ren comics. The planet is, and it's the temple that he's building is based on the original Jedi temple that was built on Acto, which is why his exile to Acto is even more painful, because instead of leaving the Jedi temple and the memories of the temple, he just goes to where it all started, which kind of just compounds the issue, surely.
you know, something that bothered me is why do they always got to use some type of insect to create a droid? We got spiders, ants. Like, dude, why does everything got to be an insect? Who is the writer that is coming up with this insect crap? Like, dude, why are you writing this, man? This is like, why does everything got to be a bug?
Tori, I wonder if potentially Grogu chooses Mando, Mando will bring him back, and I wonder if Luke's going to train Mando to use the Darksaber. This is something we theorized about, thought was possibly going to happen this episode.
I
can see that.
I don't think
It might be a bit long-winded, but
I don't think that they're going to do that. I have a feeling, and I don't know. I have a feeling that Ahsoka is going to be the one that teaches him how to use. That teaches Mando. I don't think it's going to be Luke.
I don't see.
I think that's the way that they tie in Mandalorian. Because see, this is the thing. They're tying in everything with everything. At some point in time, the Bad Batch is going to show up somewhere. In one of the things, they tying in, you know, Ahsoka with Luke or Ahsoka with Boba Fett and the Mandalorian and Luke and all that. They're tying all this in together for a reason. So I don't think that it's going to happen during the Book of Boba Fett. I think it's going to happen during the Ahsoka series. I think Ahsoka's going to have a problem and she's going to get Mando to help her out, and she's going to teach him how to wield the Darksaber. I don't know. It just because she's not. This is the thing. I don't think Luke is going to train anybody that's not going to be a Jedi. I don't see that. And the Mandalorian is not going to be a Jedi. But Ahsoka, who is not a Jedi, is more likely to take up that role to teach somebody that's not going to be a Jedi than Luke. It just seems more right for Ahsoka to do it than it does for Luke. Or we might get somebody that trains him that we might not even think. But I have a strong feeling that it's gonna tie Mando and Luke. And Mando, in all reality, Mando is Disney's bread and butter right now. Everything that has to do with the Mandalorian season is their bread and butter. That's how they're drawing in their income. And I think they're going to keep tying him and Grogu into almost every episode of not every episode, but every series that comes out. I just have a really strong feeling about that. Go ahead, Garrison.
No, I was just going to say, kind of going back a little bit. And Ahsoka's to be brutally honest, Ahsoka's probably the better lightsaber duelist anyways. If we're talking about just lightsaber combat, Ahsoka's probably better. Luke's a better Jedi, but Ahsoka's probably a better teacher for strictly lightsaber combat, and that's kind of what Mando would need.
Did y'all like the part? I like the part where she kind of gives the nod, just like your father.
Oh, I cried. I immediately went into tears. I saw that and I was like, I want that moment where he tells her he came back. When he came back. I got to see him come back to the light side. I want to see it. I don't care. I want to see it.
I think that they'll
I
put
saw
it out.
that
They might
part,
put
but
it
I
out.
didn't. I didn't really get it. Like, what was like his father?
Like, she
I
just
didn't
saying that he's
understand, really.
like,
You
you got to remember that Anakin was taught her. So the way
Right.
that Luke is teaching Grogu is kind of how like Anakin didn't teach her. Anakin, if you go back to the animated movie of the Clone Wars when Anakin first got Ahsoka as his apprentice, he tells her, "Go out there and do this. This is how you learn by doing it." Yeah. And that's how that's how Luke is kind of teaching Grogu with the whatchamacallit, the shooty thing, whatever, the training probe, whatever it's called. I forgot what the name of it.
The little training droid, yeah.
The fact
That's
that
how he's
gets
teaching
mad
Grogu.
and just crushes it. He's
That
like,
was
I'm done
adorable.
with it. I'm done with it.
But he's,
also-
the thing is shooting at him, jumping around, and that's kind of how Anakin taught Ahsoka. Like, you got to go out here. I mean, her first little time with him, they hid underneath the thing. They hid underneath the chest, waited for the droids to pass by, and then went to go shut down the thing. He put her right into action. And that's kind of how Luke is training Grogu. He's just putting her right into action. Like, you got to learn how to do this because, like he said, the galaxy is very dangerous, and I will teach you how to protect yourself.
Also,
Which was another good tie-in. Go ahead.
Kind of.
Garrison, also, Luke is full of doubt and uncertainty, which is something that plagued Anakin since he
Yeah,
was
I did
child.
get that one. I don't know. Seeing both characters, like Anakin and Luke, seem like completely different people to me. Like, they don't seem super similar at all. I get the doubt part. I guess that one actually makes sense.
The quick to
just
anger.
I don't know.
The quick to anger ratio with those two are very similar. I'm just saying.
Well, I seen a lot of patience out of Luke.
Well, when Vader,
Luke's showing a lot of
I'm not gonna
patience, I think.
Well, when Vader tells Luke, if I can't turn you, I'm gonna turn your sister, and he loses his mind. That's what I'm talking about. The temper, like in the beginning with Anakin, we all know Anakin had that when he was in that mid 18 to 22 range. He had that quick temper. Anakin, same way in Attack of the Clones. He was quick to get mad. He went off and killed all the Tusken Raiders.
Right. But you also see Luke control that anger way better because he has the chance to kill Darth Vader and he stops.
But you also got to think Obi-Wan told him about his dad.
Right.
Sorry, Garrison.
And I'm sure Obi-Wan told Anakin to watch his anger too. Anakin got told by like 1,000 people to watch his anger.
But I don't think it had to do with the anger issue on this because Luke shows a lot of patience with Grogu in this episode.
I would not have that patience. I would not straight up have that patience.
He's like, let me show you stuff. Let me show you how to. One of the key things that I clicked on, and I don't know if this is the way that things is gonna go, but 3 times in the episode, Luke says balance. You will find balance in the Force. That's not something that Jedi say. Jedi say it flows into you. This is something that is more of what, like the okay, I just lost my train of thought. More like the people that's in the middle. People that carry yellow lightsabers that are more in the middle of the
guards.
I wonder if this is. Oh,
Kyle, we wearing the same shirt.
Oh my God!
Looks like it. Hey, that's a great shirt. I love this shirt.
I do too. I saw it and I instantly bought it, and I was like, "Where have I seen that shirt though?"
My daughter bought it for me for Christmas, not this last Christmas, but the Christmas before that. She sent it to me, and I was like, "Oh my God!"
I didn't mean to interrupt.
It's fine. I wanted to point out a lot of this idea of balance and peace within the Force and understanding both sides at once is something that Luke burns into Rey's teachings when he's training her. And I wonder if this is us seeing the start of that thinking, even though he's offering Grogu the choice. That's the thing Anakin never had. He was never given a choice.
And this is also something.
Free will was taken away from him, and this is the first time Luke is turning around and going, "No, that's not how we're going to do this." He gets to choose what he wants for himself, whether I think that's best or not, and that's huge character growth in Star Wars. Huge.
Well, then also that brings in something else from Legends because in canon there's only dark and light. There's no middle. You can't be in the middle. Now you go back to Dawn of the Jedi and the beginning of the Legends books, in the beginning of the timeline when it was the Jedi or however you want to say that. There's a lot of different things. They were all about the balance. You know what I'm saying? You draw from the dark and the light. You sit in the middle and you draw from both sides, which was something that also was a Mace Windu thing because that was one of his special abilities or his Jedi ability that he could draw from the dark and use it for the light, which is still a balance point because you're balancing on the precipice of the two. So are they trying to bring in this middle ground of like that's a Legends thing into canon? Another thing that they're trying to bring from Legends into canon.
You also got to think though, he's studied all the books and he's heard all the stories of the Purge and everything that the Jedi failed to see and do. When you hear about that and you learn about that and you realize that the Jedi were so stickler on attachments and so stickler on this is the only way you can do it. This is the only way we're going to allow it. And if you go anywhere else, you're just out. You're exiled from any kind of Force teachings. And I think Luke has read and heard and seen so much because he's found holocrons, like in Battlefront 2 when he goes to that planet and goes into the chamber that the Palpatine had with all that stuff. Palpatine, that wasn't his only one. There was one on Coruscant, and 10-1, Luke got a hold of that. And found the holocrons and found all the teachings and saw all that. And 10-1 turned everything around and was like, okay, I'm going to give anybody that wants to be a Jedi that has Force abilities that is willing to learn a chance. But the second they don't want to learn, I'm going to give them an option. And I think it starts with Grogu. I think it'll grow into Kylo, but Kylo really wants to follow in Anakin's footsteps and then learns about Vader and gets persuaded and stuff. And
well, he gives them an option until they turn to the dark side, and then he tries to kill him.
He tries to kill him in his sleep. He's just, yes, no big deal. I'm gonna slash you down with this lightsaber. I don't think Qui-Gon would really appreciate me using this kyber crystal like this, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Like,
I want to take a minute to talk about our hero, Cobb Vanth Refrigerations. Clint Eastwood, blooming John Wayne, gunslinging, rootin' tootin' cowboy in the Wild West. It was brilliant.
I don't care about Cobb Vanth. Cad Bane was in the episode.
Oh, we're not there yet, babes. We're not there yet.
Yeah, I just love. Oh man, it was so good to see that little cowboy in it. Oh, so awesome.
Well,
and
that's
to CJ's point,
thing.
it definitely set the scene for a more like Cad Bane standoff. Dude,
Yes.
epic.
That was my favorite. The gunslinger old cowboy quick draw was my favorite scene in the whole episode. That was my favorite scene.
Cad Bane thing too.
Cobb Vanth was probably like my favorite character in this episode. Oh man.
Well, what I loved about this was like when we see Cad Bane, everybody knows he's got quick hands. We saw it in the Bad Batch when he shot Hunter, and Hunter's got pretty quick reflexes, So if he can still do it, and he's got to be old as hell now. He really does. He's got to be old.
Well, we don't know how his species ages.
But that's the thing, though. It's kind of a humanoid species, though. He's very similar to a humanoid species.
What they classify in Star Wars as a humanoid species is somebody that has
it's just the shape,
arms, two arms, two legs type thing. So, so Yoda is actually considered a humanoid species, and he lived to be 900 and some years old. So we don't know where Cad Bane is at, and we don't know because even if you look at just Star Wars characters in general, the Hutts live for a long time. You got a lot of different species that live for a very long time.
Let CJ talk before he explodes.
I'm sorry. We didn't talk about this. When he talks about Yoda and he's like, he talked in riddles, it was strange. Like when he looks at Grogu and tells him that, and Grogu's looking at him like, why are you talking like?
Yeah, but the example he uses is size matters not. What a riddle, Luke. What a fiddler. What a confuser. What a difficult one.
Okay, we really skipped over this, but he pulls up all the frogs in his eyes. The animatronics in Grogu's eyes get all huge, and he's like, yes! I love it. I love everything they've done with this. Like I said, a lot of emotions. I'm sorry. Everybody else.
I like the fact that Luke brought in the point of, you don't try, do it. And I think that was a very good thing because that's something that he struggled with.
Yes.
So for him to be teaching and using Yoda's teachings to help him teach Grogu, I think it was a very, very good, tie-in, bringing it back to the movies.
Me too,
And-
Nick. Me too.
So the biggest thing I want to talk about real fast is if he doesn't leave Luke, which I really feel like he's not going to. I really do. I think he's going to stay. I think he's going to get teachings, and something's going to happen to Mando. And somehow he's going to hear about it. Him and Luke are going to be off doing some like diplomatic kind of deal like the Jedis are really famous for. He's going to hear about it, and Grogu's going to go off on his own.
Fair.
Or try. But I feel like Luke is
But I still think
he's going to try. He is the little guy. But I feel like Luke's going to finally get to the point where he can find out who saved him. I think we're going to get to see that. I think the Tales of the Jedi, if you guys saw the post I put on Twitter of the Lucasfilm guy, people that worked for Lucasfilm and everything, they got a box with all the merchandise that has came out so far and all the things that are coming out. Tales of the Jedi, I feel like is going to be a Luke show. I feel like it's going to be Luke, and I feel like it's going to be Grogu, and I feel like it's going to be a master and apprentice thing. I really do. Because why are you focusing really hard on Luke and like fixing everything with Luke just to get rid of him later on? I don't feel like that would be smart, especially since people want to know what he was doing during this time.
That's a very good point. Star Wars team leader is Grogu going to get the dark side cave?
Yes, please.
I don't think that comes for a while. You got to remember, Grogu's like 50 years old, but in like Yoda years, he's like 4. So I think it'll be a little bit of while, or maybe 5. But I think it's going to be a little while before he gets.
Just imagine a little evil Grogu though. Like he's just staring at himself, and he's all dark.
Well, see, that's the thing, and that's what a lot of people have a misconception about the dark side cave. The dark side cave is not. It's based on that individual. So what's that individual's problems? So say Grogu goes in there and he doesn't have no problems, which is doubtful because you think about when Yoda went through the dark side cave or what was considered like that type of thing, he had to face himself.
Dylan.
Ribbit.
No.
Yeah, that's a possibility. He could get attacked by a giant frog.
I'm thinking if he goes into the dark side cave, he sees Din Djarin with the LightSaber coming at him because he left him and didn't come back.
I mean, there's a lot of different stuff that could possibly.
He's gonna have an Ogdo Bogdo.
Oh,
there's just so many different ways that they could take it. There's so many different ideas.
Wait.
That could happen.
Get out of my head, Dylan.
Speaking of Fallen Order, I don't know if you guys caught at the end, if you watched with subtitles, when Cobb Vanth of Federations gets hit by the blaster and falls over, one of the people who runs toward him says, "Get a stim." Stim packs are what are used in Fallen Order to restore your health. They are slowly dripping in the Fallen Order game like stories and canon into the main Star Wars line. I thought that was super, super cool.
And I'm totally
okay with that. Also, apart from Cad Bane being absolutely terrifying, like I don't get spooked that easily anymore. I'm a big girl. It's fine. I genuinely get chills. Like, why are his teeth like that? Why are his eyes? Why is he? The
thing, the one of the best parts is he's talking and he has his head down and you can't really see his face. And when they draw, when he comes up and the camera follows him to his face and he looks at him, that was terrifying. Like, dude, you're about to die.
Also,
this ain't no guy. This no joke.
Standoff was.
He's voiced by the same guy who does Cad Bane in the Clone Wars. And what I really, really appreciated is that he must have done his voice recording with those mouth prosthetics in, because it sounds like he's talking through spiky teeth. He's talking through a differently shaped mouth, differently shaped teeth. The attention to detail in that voice acting is absolutely immaculate. Also, another point that Cad Bane really seems to hammer home, as far as he's concerned, Boba Fett is nothing but a cold-blooded killer, implying that no matter how much atoning Boba Fett is doing, how much he hides behind respect and kind words and cuddly rancors, he is still a ruthless murderer. He cannot escape his past. He can only become it.
I hate that he got all dirty and pulled up the damn Empire like it was
have you...
Come
no,
on.
go ahead, CJ, sorry.
Like, Cad Bane's like, yeah, he's a ruthless killer and he worked for the Empire. How could you trust him kind of attitude? And it's like, shut up, Cad. You worked for anybody that paid you enough. Every
One
bounty
thing is,
hunter.
I don't.
have you met Boba Fett now? He's a.
I don't. Not that
Just
I wish
wait.
to invoke
We'll get to
this.
see what we'll get to see this next episode. What Boba Fett's really made of after this.
Not that I wish to invoke this on the podcast, but it is giving me, like, Boba Fett on Tatooine is giving me slight kind of like Nazis into Argentina vibes when they disappeared to hide from prosecution. Is this what's going on? Is Boba a war criminal? Does he need to be put on trial?
No. Nope.
No.
Not
Okay.
doing it.
Now I'm gonna tell y'all what kind of got me emotional. Okay.
Oh.
There was one part that got me emotional. They blew up the whorehouse.
I knew that was going to happen. I knew you were going to say it.
That hurt my heart a little bit. Like, oh man, they blew up my girl.
What kills me is when she turns around and looks, she doesn't even get to say anything. She just realizes that's it. It's over.
Absolutely horrific.
I thought that was a.
I want to punch that droid for grabbing it.
I would aggressively like to reassure our viewers and our listeners. Max Rebo was not performing this evening. He was not in the pan shot of the club, so we can assume that he was not there. Therefore, he is safe. But R.I.P. potential figure in Dan, and also R.I.P. to our favorite droid drummer. A sad day for Jasmine.
Well, the droid might have survived. He's metal, so he might have survived. But,
and yeah, R.I.P. Gaza Whip. Also, Nick pointed this out to me earlier when we were watching the episode. The Croupe droid R3X. R3X is a DJ at Galaxy's Edge. Have they just created themselves a real life plot hole?
Yeah. So the biggest thing with those, it's DJ Rex.
DJ Rex.
It was from the
Solo?
Galactic Tours or whatever. The Star Tours. Originally, he was a part of Star Tours.
Yes, he was Star Tours. I remember.
Yeah. Then they threw him in August Cantina as the DJ, and then he was the security droid when Mando was turning in all his weapons.
Ah.
Then they turned him into a bartender.
So there's like multiple.
Oh yeah, there's got to be like a variation of things.
I know.
They must just be the one of the cheapest droids, and everybody just buys that model because they're real cheap.
And that you can just reprogram them really easy to do random things.
I know we're jumping around a little bit, but we got to go back to the standoff because when they were standing, when Cad Bane was walking through and you knew who it was as soon as it panned over there to him and he's far away, you knew who it was. Like, holy shit, it's Cad Bane. Like I screamed like, oh my God, it's Cad Bane, and then he's walking up. Which I think we all kind of figured that Cad Bane was going to show up in this episode. There's too many bounty hunters. There's just they couldn't do it without putting. I mean, it would be insult to Star Wars not to put Cad Bane in this episode.
Dave, who are you cameoing in this episode? Dave Filoni. Yes.
Ain't he the creepy dude in the bar, the bartender dude? Ain't that who he is? I looked at him like, oh man, that's Dave. No, that's John. Ain't that John?
No. Wait, I wrote this down as well. That bartender is in fact. Oh no! No, guys, carry on talking. I'll find it. I'll come back to the point.
He looks like John. Like his body shape. That the bartender guy. He looks like John. Like
there we go. The bartender in the cantina, where Cobb Vanth, the outside where Cobb Vanth is shot, is played by William Earl Brown, the same man who plays the bartender in Deadwood, which also stars Timothy Oliphant as a cowboy. So that was a nice little.
Oh, cool! It's just a full circle kind of deal.
It is a full.
Doesn't matter where Timothy goes, he's going to be a cowboy. I could
have sworn when he was talking and just his body shape and the way he was acting and stuff, I could have sworn that was John. I was like, there goes John. John played the character. I could have sworn that was John, but.
Oh, Star Wars team leader! I know the answer to this one as well. The Jawas have a dragon skull on the top of their crawler because Din gave them the egg, so they went back and got the carcass, took the skull off, and put it on top of their thing.
Did you guys see the ribs in the bar?
Yes, the ribs and the bar of the cantina is decorated with the ribs and the spine of the crate dragon. Really beautiful attention to detail. Also, how much did we love who thought Din had gone off to raise an army of Jawas? I'm going to be honest. When the crawler panned in, and they were like.
Hey.
Yep.
Now, this
literally
is a
thought he
question.
was going to go grab all the Jawas with their shotguns. I was like, I can get an army of
Tuscans.
Jawas.
I have a question that I
think Bubba would cry with
this is something that popped in my head, okay? And this was something that, like, I thought about it earlier. Because I'm watching the episode, I'm looking at IMDb, I'm checking out, information, looking at stuff. And I said, there's not enough time. Like for them to really do a good thing, this last episode is going to have to be like 3 hours long for them to do everything that I think that they're planning on doing. And it's not slated for being that long. I think it's like 49 minutes or something like that. So I'm like, are we being fooled? Is there going to be more than 7 episodes and they're just not telling us? Is this their like revealing thing? I think that they're going to come out with more than one more episode. I think there's going to be like 2 or 3 episodes, and they just not telling us about it. And that's going to be that thing that like, you know, the Luke thing in Mandalorian. Like, oh my God, it's Luke Skywalker. Oh my God, we got another episode. What's going on? I think it's going to be like that.
I don't know. You caught the first time when we were talking about it. You thought there was going to be 8 episodes. We were talking about it.
Well, it said it on IMDb.
That's what
Remember,
I'm saying.
I was looking at IMDb and it was slated for 8 episodes. And then it changed to 7. I'm like, all right, wait a minute. And then all the announcements was about 7. I think that IMDb got the original list, and that's what they put on there. And then somebody said, no, put that 8th one on there. We don't want to take that off. Because then all of a sudden, then it changed back to 7. But I really think that we're going to get hit with an extra episode. I think that's going to be the, you know, that Luke Skywalker showing up in The Mandalorian. I really think that that's what it's going to be. They're going to give us an extra episode because if not,
our dreams.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Sorry.
Nick, please.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Can people edit it?
On Nick on that one.
I didn't know that people could edit IMDb.
Yeah, you can edit IMDb like you can Wikipedia.
Oh, that's kind of sucks. Then I'm not going back to IMDb. I didn't know that. I thought that shit was like official shit.
I am.
Sorry for everything that I have said about IMDb because they're full of shit. If just anybody could change that, I'm sorry. I recant all IMDb statements.
Give them a lot of credit. Nah, it's okay. I don't know. I honestly feel like if we do get that extra episode, awesome. If we don't and it ends with that cliffhanger, I think it'll either tie into season 3 of Mando or we'll get a season 2 of Boba Fett.
I know we're going to get a season. Dude, there's no way that they're not going to do a season 2 of Boba Fett. Because at some point, they got to make Boba Fett hard again. I just don't believe that Dave and John's just going to leave him this soft, cuddly guy. I don't believe that they're going to do that. Let me rephrase this. My opinion, I don't think that they're going to do that. They might just say, you know, hey, we wanted to make Boba Fett the good guy. Like Boba Fett's not the good guy, but you know, that's just what they decided to do. I think that, but my personal opinion, I think that at some point they got to go back in maybe a season 2 and make him this hard ass criminal that he is. Because it just makes sense to me.
Well, and if you remember in season 2 of Mando when he shows up and he puts on his armor, where's that guy? There's got to be. I know there's stuff that's happened and everything. And we got to differentiate and all that. But Dave and John were both on set for that. They helped really do a lot of that episode, and then for them to do this,
and you got to remember, this that happened before this. You know, with him, because that's how he got his armor back. So that happened. Yeah. He was hard ass, and then so it's not like, you know, he, you know, left and then got soft after that. You know, all that softness came before he whooped 30 stormtroopers by himself. You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, then he became the soft guy after he got his armor back. That doesn't make no sense. It makes no sense. It makes no sense at all. So I think that they have to bring the hardness back in him, and I don't think they can do that in this last episode.
Nope.
That's fair.
They do like 2 extra or 3 extra secret episodes. Like instead of just the one, they go to 10 episodes and they just make it.
Even if they did like a 2-hour finale special extra episode, they could do it and make it like even an hour and a half. They could make something just really good. Like it's just. Damn, that's Boba Fett. That's the Boba Fett that I know right there. That dude just shot 39 people in the face. You know what I'm saying? I would be happy with that.
I'm stealing the microphone for a second to talk about a point that made me absolutely scream. As you guys know, I've banged on about this in quite a lot of episodes. The fact that there were no real-life clone trooper armor made. Now, Now we've got like 8 of them, like 8 real physical clone trooper
They
armors.
weren't
When
made.
for
Those
that,
were 501st people.
I'm sorry. I was getting there. I was going to
I'm
correct
sorry,
myself.
Char.
They are,
I know you were.
soldiers, and I also know that the one in the front is like identical to the one that's in the movies because they match the scratches on the helmet.
Yeah.
Are we
It's
still talking about the Book of
insane.
Boba Fett? What are we talking
Yeah.
about?
We are
Yeah.
talking
It
about
was in the book
Boba Fett.
of this
In
last
Grogu's
episode. There was
flashback,
stormtroopers
when
in
they were
it.
those
Stormtroopers, 501st
Oh.
clone troopers.
Oh.
when they storm when they're killing the Jedis, when Grogu's having his flashback.
Oh yeah, yeah,
those are 501st guys.
yeah.
Real life costumes. That's the first time that's ever been made in Star Wars, and that makes me want to scream with excitement. That's so cool. It actually
Dude,
made
all
physical
they got to do, if they ever wanted to do like a Clone Wars, like something, anything, you know, all they have to do is get the 501st. There's like a million of those guys. You know what I'm saying?
It's
Like,
not the 501st, but you're absolutely right. If we ever end up doing like a kind of whole clone army redo, then I'm sure the helmet slit vents are canon, says Dylan. Yes, they are.
you know, it's like there's so many people with stormtrooper or 50 or clone troopers or 504 or whatever you want to call it. There's so many people that cosplay stormtroopers and clone troopers that you could definitely make a movie and just hire all them to stand around in their costumes and it would you
They've
could
been
do
used
it.
And
multiple
half
times.
those people wouldn't want to get paid as much as they think.
First Order, the Rise of Skywalker and Last Jedi First Order scenes, a majority of that is done with 501st members. All of the stormtroopers that you see in The Force Awakens are 501st members, excluding the ones like James Bond and all of that good stuff.
That would be dope, Nick. That would be real dope. I got to pull up Nick's comment.
Ooh.
He says, I wonder if there's space in the story for Filoni to give us a live action Clone Wars film. Like take the Clone Wars animated series and make it a live action. That would be so dope.
Well,
I think we're gonna get a lot of that. I think we're gonna get a lot of Clone Wars stuff in Ahsoka. I really do.
yeah.
Like
Because
flashbacks,
Hayden-
maybe.
Yeah, because Hayden Christensen's in it.
But, I
It's
mean-
not going to be very hard to dub over people's
great,
faces
Dylan.
like Rex. You can get Rex. Tamara Morrison's there. You can get Rex.
Rex.
They
Ta-da.
de-aged Mark Hamill. You can de-age
Yeah.
Tamara Morrison.
If Hayden Christensen's bopping around, I'm sure they could do a younger Anakin. Not that he looks particularly old anyway. God, the man
Yeah,
looks
he doesn't.
incredible.
He's
I just
looking
don't
like
know if
Ewan,
they're-
just
I
This
just
is
don't.
why I think we'll get Han Solo.
I just don't think that they'll do it for one reason. I think Anakin's going to kind of pop up to Ahsoka and be like, you know, hey, watch out for my son type things. You know, hey, you know, that's my boy. You take care of him. Make sure that he stays on the right path, you know.
there's a
And I
little
think-
green guy he needs to go find. Help him.
You know, I think it's going to be more of that type of stuff, and then him helping her maybe in situations because when she goes against Thrawn, and the way that Thrawn works, she has to be fulcrum then,
Yes.
you know, and fulcrum is strategic. She does things very strategic. So I think that's Anakin being Vader for so long and controlling an entire empire. That's going to, you know, he was telling the troops what to do. You know, he got the orders from Palpatine, then or Sidious, whichever you want to call him at this point. He got the orders, and then he's the one that sent the army to go do stuff. So he was like the commander in chief. So, and he's taking, you know, the taking orders from the king. I think he knows how to strategically do things. And I think that's what she's going to need to become fulcrum, is that type of thing. And I think the flashbacks is going to be maybe of, you know, the Force Ghost talking to her and teaching her how to use these strategies to deal with Thrawn. Because we all know if you go back in the Legends, Thrawn and Anakin had worked together. And even if you listen to the new books, Thrawn has been with Anakin, so he knows who Anakin is.
The last point I wanted to bring up, I thought this was quite lovely. I wanted to read you guys a quote. As you guys know, Shogun Assassin, the Lone Wolf and the Cub, was what inspired the first season of Mandalorian, that story of kind of the teacher and the student. And this quote is taken directly from the manga, and I think it really, really sums up the choice that Grogu has to make at the end. Today I will begin walking the road to hell, but you will choose your own path. So soon you may be seeing heaven. Choose the sword and you will join me. Choose the ball and you join your mother in death. You don't understand my words, but you must choose. So come, boy, choose life or death.
Hey, that's deep.
That was deep.
That was.
Man, why you gotta
Absolutely
go?
beautiful.
Why you gotta always deep dive and make things so like more like rich about it? I appreciate it,
Hey.
but man, that's hitting my feelers more. I gotta, now I'm gonna.
But
Look at
that fits
and
the
I'm gonna watch
entire episode. That's not just the Grogu
No, that's
thing.
not just the Grogu.
Because
It's the whole
you think about like all the scenes that were just so beautifully captivating, like especially when Luke and Grogu are together. Even the desert scenes. I mean, they're so like perfect. Every single shot in this movie or this show was just perfect. It was perfectly done. It was captivating. The scenery, him climbing up the thing and the way the branches were swaying and just everything was just done so perfect. And the scenery it captivated you. It just made you feel, it was one of those things that made you feel like you were a part.
Yes.
They did so much to really create, like the story was very slim. Like we all agreed it, like the story was,
That's
it was
okay.
lacking in story wise. I mean, it led to where we kind of all know that it's going, the war, but
It was a Dave Filoni episode. It's not gonna make sense, but it's gonna be beautiful.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
It's gonna be beautiful.
I mean,
Every single thing we
I'd
saw
say
on
there
that
was-
screen, every single thing was meticulously controlled down to the
Yeah.
last second of every beat. All of it was completely designed to
The-
sucker us in and make us feel so good.
and the music.
Yeah, so
Go ahead, Garrison.
I'd say it's like still part of the story. It's just a lot of filler. I still think it had a story and had like it needed to be there, right? It told a
Yes.
lot about each of the characters.
Yes.
But I think it was just filler. So yeah, that's fair.
Nick is 100% correct. Filoni is an animator. You just know he storyboarded every second, probably turned up on day one with a rough CG animation of the whole episode and was like, here, we'll do this.
And that's not very hard to do. We could actually, anybody can. They have programs. If you go and watch a Film Ride on YouTube, that he brings up. They have like shit that you could do storyboards and do the CGI and everything that like we can use. So just imagine what Disney has, like what somebody like Dave Filoni is using to
Also-
make.
Speaking of what Disney have, this was a TV show budget. Give me those writers and give me those men and those directors and those showrunners and those producers with a film budget and let me see what happens, because I could not believe we were watching a TV show for effectively free. I know we pay for Disney Plus and that's kind of the whole point, but you get what I'm getting at. This was
One of the things, like,
flowing.
Good point.
I listen to sound a lot. I'm very particular about score and, the Foley and all that stuff. They were on par with all the Foley, with all the music, everything. When Cad Bane shows up and the music changes right there, I mean, it just like that. It just completely switched your attitude. When Luke and them are in, Luke and Grogu and Ahsoka and Mandalorian, every scene when the music changed, it just automatically captivated you and shifted your emotion into that thing.
Yeah.
And they did it so perfectly. So perfectly. Whoever did it, they should have done the last episode, because they would have made the last episode like a 9. If they would have just got the...
That moment where, I'm so sorry, CJ, where Luke and Grogu are looking out across the water and you hear that full orchestral swell of
I think it will, Nick. It'll win the Emmy.
weeping.
Oh yes, hands down.
Go. You can go. You can go.
All I've got to say is that damn deputy is the only reason why Cod Vamp got shot. If he would have stayed inside,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still don't know if he's faster than Cad Bane. I don't know if he's faster than
No, I
Cad
didn't
Bane.
say he's
No.
faster. What I'm saying is, if the deputy wouldn't have went for his gun, Cod wouldn't have had to go for his either.
He wouldn't have looked over. See, if you watch it, the deputy's on the side. he looks over, and then that's when Cad draws on him. When he comes back, it's too late. He already getting shot.
If
That
the deputy would've
deputy,
just stayed inside,
I'm so
it
happy
would've
that
been fine.
deputy got shot.
Oh god, yeah. And Cad just unloaded on him. He didn't care. He gave him every blaster bullet he could. He's like, I don't care. And then
That dude was an
one
idiot.
shot.
Speaking of Cad Bane going around and killing everyone, I've got a feeling this may be how they explain Gina Carano / Cara Dune's imminent demise.
Yes.
Cad Bane just she tried to stand up for herself and he just popped her in the head. Done. Easy peasy.
Maybe it's a flashback. Maybe they do a flashback over and they just use another scene because
Cara Dune did a back to tank.
That part did confuse me a little bit though, because when Cad Bane's with not Cad Bane, when Cobb Vanth is with all the pikes, he draws and kills like 3 of them just like that.
He actually, I watched it back in slow motion. I'm so sorry. He kills 2 of them, but
Yeah.
kills the 3rd one by shooting the first one, who turns his gun and shoots the second
And
one.
shoots the other one. Right. I did notice that.
It's weird.
Right, super fast. So how fast is Cad Bane where Cad Bane has to aim at someone else and shoot someone else and then shoot him after we already know he's fast enough to shoot 2 people and draw on a 3rd.
I feel like it
You know
was
what I mean?
a smart choice from
So
Cad
either
Bane.
All I've got to say is if that deputy
like
wouldn't have done it, I've got to say if that deputy wouldn't have done it, I think it would have been a draw, just like Dylan said. It would have been a draw. I think both people would have been hit. They would have been picking themselves up, all that fun stuff. Because it just
well, you know he shoots him in the shoulder
I
too.
disagree.
So I don't think he's
that
not
was a shoulder
dead.
shot. No, like I said in the group chat earlier, he didn't kill him because he needs to go tell Boba he can't do it. That was the thing with Cad Bane. That's why he kept telling him, "Don't you go work for Boba Fett."
He killed.
He's got to go warn him.
Well, I think that he might. I think that Cod will go work with Boba Fett and them definitely now.
Oh yeah, now, yeah.
Because he shot him and he wants his revenge back. What if Cod Vanth is the one who takes out Cad Bane
That would be
in Star
awesome.
Wars?
Oh, yes.
In the story? Like, dude, they bring Cad Bane in for this episode. Next episode, or maybe if we get an 8th, Cod Vanth goes again, and they draw again, and he shoots him, and he kills Cad Bane. That would be like the craziest thing. This is the way Cad Bane dies. We get to see that.
Can we say that starts it? Like you see Cod's like, I got this. And he like shoves Boba back. That's how it starts the whole war with the pikes. He takes out.
Absolutely.
The only other thing is that the only other option that I thought about too, that Cod actually dies, and then that pisses Mando off, and Mando goes up against Cad.
We saw that
quick draws. That was fast.
That was fast.
And he was asleep. So he woke up, pulled out asleep, and that was quick. So I was thinking like maybe Cod calls, or maybe Cod calls Den and says, "Hey, I can't come. Some guy showed up, shot me. I ain't gonna be able to fight. This is the guy, some blue guy shot me." And then Den is like, "You shot my friend. Now I got to show you what's up."
Now we got some problems. Also, speaking of the Mandalorian, can we all just appreciate how those droids made him a bench and he went, "Is that a bench?" and immediately fell asleep on it.
Like literally he sat down and was like, "Okay, I'm this is boring."
Also,
I'm watching-
R2-D2 just fully switching himself off because he just wasn't, because he'd done his job. And when Ahsoka came and saw them and he did a little wiggle.
I know.
You gotta understand, he's been knowing her for.
Friend.
They're friends,
I
good friends.
love that.
Best friends.
The thing you got to remember too, if we follow the storyline, R2 has never been memory wiped, so he's known her since she was a child. That's a long time to know somebody. Like since she was like a little girl and she showed up in the story. He's known her for all this time. That's like years.
He's known her since she was technically 12, 13, which is the age where Padawans get picked by their Jedi Masters.
Well, wasn't there a part in that where he said, "Ain't you a little bit young to be?" And she was like, "Yoda doesn't think I am."
Yeah, it's because she's progressed very quickly within the training to the point where she is handed to Anakin Skywalker.
This episode was the first time we've heard the word Padawan spoken out loud since the prequel films.
I know.
Boy,
It's so nice. It's so nice to hear stuff.
it's nice to hear stuff. I like that.
But no, and I love that R2, like when Din walks up to him, he's like, I'm here to see Grogu. And R2 kind of just makes these like angry-ish, sad beeps. All I was thinking is like, great, you want to go see the little Yoda guy that is bound to hit me with something? Okay, cool. Follow me.
Also, Din greeting him with "Hello, friend," which is a huge leap in character, development for him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because
Droids.
during the whole Mandalorians, Din don't like droids.
Nope.
Hey, Nick brought up a very good point. Kaz, the first character Disney brought from the books to live action. So he feels like they are not going to kill him off. George's characters, they can't wait to kill off, but not Disney created characters.
Except for Cara Dune.
Hey, but
Well, she killed herself off. You know what I'm saying?
She
I'm
did that
just
to
playing
herself.
up. We don't need to get into that. That was just a joke.
No, that's
Move on.
always a Saturday topic.
We've talked about that enough.
we have.
What would you guys rate this?
Yeah.
Oh,
How
man.
many Baby Yodas would you give this episode out of 10?
9. I'm giving
9
it a
Baby
9.
Yodas?
And
Fair.
so the only reason why I'm giving it a 9, yeah, you can say wow all you want. You can say wow all you want. It made me
No,
cry.
it's good.
It made me laugh. It gave me an Empire Strikes Back kind of reference with the backpack. It everything that I wanted in a Mandalorian episode, it gave me, but it also just, like I said, like last night I had a bad night, with the kids and the woman and everything, and it was just a really difficult night. And when that episode came out, I was like, it's just going to be trash. It's either going to be trash or it's going to be a filler, and it's not going to be that good of a filler. I came in pessimistic, and when I watched that episode, and it made me cry, it made me laugh, it made me feel better about everything that had been happening that day. I have to give it a 9. It literally 180. Like today, I was thinking like last night, I was thinking today's going to be a bad day. I'm going to have to bash on Boba Fett. I'm going to have to sit there and get all mad, and work's going to suck. Like this episode made my day 30 times better. And that is why it's a 9 to me. It literally,
This is.
I
why
love
we-
Luke Skywalker. I love Luke Skywalker to death. He's one. It's Obi-Wan and Luke Skywalker.
You love Obi-Wan, Luke Skywalker, Darth. You just love Star Wars.
No,
You just
no, no,
amazing.
no.
You love everything in Star Wars.
Hold on.
I love how
hold on,
CJ was like,
hold on. Garrison, say your point first, and then I'll give you my answer.
I just love how CJ at the beginning is like, I have to watch Boba Fett tomorrow. I'm prepared to rank it like a 2. Oh, Boba Fett's not in it? 9.
He gets his whole
but-
minute and 6 seconds of screen time.
So the biggest
Hell
thing
yeah.
is, I have 4 people, 4 categories. Sith, it's small. You guys know that. The man only blinked 3 times in Phantom Menace. Y'all think I'm creepy for that fact.
You are creepy for that fact. Let's move
Oh.
on.
Out of all the Mandalorians, Boba Fett. I don't care if you guys think he's not or he is. He's a Mandalorian in my eyes and always has been since that.
Nobody said he wasn't a Mandalorian. He just
Well, I
a
was just
clone
saying-
of a Mandalorian, but he still makes him a
Well,
Mandalorian.
what I'm saying is when people say he's not or he is. That's why I was throwing at that.
What would you call him? Because I know that the Mando calls Grogu a foundling, and that's what the Mandalorians call people that they kind of take in.
That is.
What
that
would you
is
call a
Jango-
clone? A found clone? A
Foundling.
clone?
Depends
A
when you ask
cloneling? A cloneling? This
if
is
you'd
a
ask-
I don't
cloneling.
care what
Yeah.
Bo-Katan said. Bo-Katan destroyed Mandalore. She ain't Mandalorian to me.
For me, it depends when you ask me. If you ask me before this series, I'd say he's whatever the flip he wants. He's badass. If you ask me now, he's a wuss. But I don't know.
Shut up.
Okay, but
I'm sorry.
What would you rate this
No.
episode, Garrison?
we can get into this now.
Hey, I rated the last one like 7, right? Or are you done, CJ? Or are you?
I was about to say, out of all the human, like regular people, it's Han Solo always, and then with my Jedis, it's Obi-Wan and Luke. They're always been right beside each other.
Right.
I love Obi-Wan because Obi-Wan's just so stoic. He's always been that way. Alec Guinness played that role beautifully. So did Ewan McGregor. And then you got Luke. The first time I ever watched Star Wars, I saw Luke Skywalker. That was the first time I was introduced to it. I saw Luke, a whiny kid that turned into a badass Jedi. So
It's a pitch.
thank you, Dylan. Continue. So everybody else go. I'm tired of explaining myself.
Yeah, Garrison, what do you rate this episode?
So last one, I think I gave a 7. This one, it's definitely, but I probably say like 7.5.
That's fair.
I mean, I'm close to
growing.
8, maybe like a 7.8, but I don't know if I could go full 8. That's
Fair.
just me. I'm very strict
fair.
and harsh. But it was the best Boba Fett one we've seen so far.
Yeah.
It was, in my opinion, I liked it better than a lot of the Mandalorian episodes even.
Ooh, controversial.
I really liked this episode. It had my cowboy Old West stuff, which I
Yes.
is my favorite kind of genre ever,
Wow.
besides Star Wars, of course. It brought Jedi's back. I love seeing Luke because Luke is one of my favorites too. It had the gunslinging. It had Mando. Yeah, it was a solid episode.
What do you got, Charlie?
Oof. I actually can't remember what I scored last week. I think I probably said like 9.5.
The build up to the answer.
I'm holding off on a 10 in case of the finale, but I think I'm going to go with like a solid 9.5 Baby Yodas because it was emotional, it was touching, it was heartwarming, it was beautiful, it was fun, it was exciting and thrilling. It hit all of those beats that we expect to see from Star Wars. There was something for everybody to enjoy, everyone to be a part of, and it also. I should not keep bashing on about this because it makes me look like a terrible Star Wars fan. I'm getting there with Clone Wars. I'm catching up, guys, I promise. It made me feel like that's part of my fandom now as well. That's part of my Star Wars experience, my Star Wars journey. And it was so nice to feel those two things that I once considered somewhat separate, now being kind of married together. Also, this is for the first time in 20 years, they have successfully married together original trilogy aesthetic and prequel trilogy aesthetic in a way that fits and doesn't look weird. Because you have to agree that the prequel films look really out of place when you compare them to the originals.
It was very complimentary.
Finally. Yes, that was it. Exactly. So yes,
Very
before I chew everyone's ears off, 9.5 Baby Yodas out of 10. Kyle, what is your...
That's why we are the outrageous Star Wars show, because y'all just cutting Baby Yodas all up, man. Cutting them in half, cutting them in eighths.
Yeah,
I thought being a Sith
Sith
legend, Sith Lord over here, Mr. Kyle, I thought you'd appreciate that.
No, Darth Sway has a soft spot for Baby Yoda and Baby Yoda alone, but don't tell
Because he
anybody.
wants to turn to the dark side. That's the only reason why.
Honestly, I give this an 8. No, wait. I would say, because the last episode was my favorite.
I'm shooketh.
The last episode, what I do, I think I did the last episode like an 8. So I'm gonna do this one probably a 7.5. Just because I'm more of an action person, and there wasn't a whole lot of action in this. I mean, there was just very small bits of action.
Yeah.
I do love the fact that they brought Ahsoka in, that they had all the main characters. I do feel a little bit, and the reason I judged it a little bit harsher is because I feel like they're giving us all these characters because they're trying to lead us away a little bit from how bad they made Boba Fett look. But I have to say, as a series, out of all the series, these are probably the last episode and this episode are two best filler episodes that we've got.
Yeah.
They are filler episodes, and they are good filler episodes.
Strong ones too. They're strong ones too.
But I would probably go with like a 7.5.
Fair.
The
I also
It's
wanted
crazy
to say,
to. Oh, sorry.
I also wanted to say how beautiful Rosario Dawson looks this episode. They've done, I don't know what they've done with the costume. I don't know what they've done with the Leku, with the face paint, whatever it is.
face paint
Everything
was
has been
off.
stepped up this episode. Face paint was off.
The face
I know-
paint on one side did not match up with the other side. I caught that and I was like, I'll let it
That's
slide.
fair.
I'll let it
I
slide.
understand that it's a very precise thing.
It's got to be. It's really.
That's
She's
fair.
put on weight.
She's
That's
Hey.
what it was.
Hey,
Actually.
we don't talk like that on this show.
What? She
Hey.
put on weight. That's a good thing. She was too thin
No.
before. Now she's a little
okay.
bit.
Okay, that's fair.
She's
The
a little
way
bit
you phrase
fuller. She's
To
a
be
little
fair-
bit thicker.
To be fair,
And-
that fits in with the story. She's older. She's more mature.
She's
I think
older,
that
yeah.
that adds to the character. I mean, if the character stayed super skinny,
I
like
apologize.
part of natural aging is putting on a little.
She
skin,
she
okay?
looked filler. She looked like she was more filled in the costume. It looked more like she's more strong.
Not necessarily fat, but just bigger.
Yeah, no, she
Very
naturally, her natural weight is more than it was when she was in Mando. It looks like she's put on a few pounds, and it looks good on her. And it looks good on her because, like I said last episode, or when we was talking about Ahsoka before, I said it's hard for me to look at her because every time I see Rosario Dawson, it's that one movie where she was a crackhead and she had AIDS. So it's like, you know,
keep bringing that up, Kyle.
Because it's like, dude, this is who y'all picked to be Ahsoka, like some crackhead AIDS chick. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's going on?
I have no comment.
She really filled it out. She really looked a lot better in this episode, and it kind of took that away.
Yeah.
Nick,
And I just love how she was with Mando.
She was wonderful with Mando. She was amazing. Also, did anybody pick up on the fact that she's altered her body language to be more like the animated version of Ahsoka? There was a lot of just kind of like what we'd consider quite unnatural, almost animatronic movements to her body, and I think she's really trying to sort of channel the Clone Wars Ahsoka that so much of the fan base is so familiar with.
Yeah,
Do y'all realize that we have talked we've been on this episode for a minute and 5 seconds, or 1 minute and 5
seconds.
Wow.
an hour and 5 minutes. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm looking.
Okay.
And not one of us has brought up the fact of the lightsaber, Luke Skywalker
How could we
but I
not
forgot
talk about
about it.
Yoda's
practicing with the lightsaber and how fluent his movement was and how good it looked.
He used to train Rey. That's what she does in The Last Jedi. It's the same moveset.
Hey,
Beautiful.
this is the thing. You brought it up, CJ, but you brought it up in the wrong situation. You thought he was coming to play Maul. He was coming to train and show them how to do the lightsaber moves correctly.
Oh, that's why
No
it looks
way.
so good.
Think about it. Think
That
about it. If
makes
you
so
watch the
much
YouTube
sense.
video,
No,
if you
that
watch the
makes so
YouTube
much
videos and he's showing the lightsaber, how he's moving with the lightsaber, and you watch how Luke is doing it, and if you go back and watch how Rey is doing it,
kind of fluency.
Insane.
Oh, that
yes.
makes so much sense.
The hands
I'm
as
sitting there,
well.
Why
Like
is that
the
kid so fluent with that lightsaber?
that's why he
I
was
wish
there.
that was
Awesome.
that good.
That makes
That's
me feel
why
so
he
much
was
better
there.
that they bring
They
Ray
flew him
Park.
in to come and show them the lightsaber training.
And some mall scenes. Sorry.
And even though he just got there not long ago and this has already been filmed, I think that it has to do with him training on lightsabers. I don't think that there's
the
any place
biggest
that they're
thing
going to
is-
bring Maul back. I think that only place that I think that they could bring Maul back is maybe in the Kenobi series, but that's already done filming. So we're at a position that he's training somebody for maybe one of the new movies that's coming out or another TV series. He might be training Ahsoka or Rosario Dawson in the Ahsoka series because they're still in filming or
These
process
last
of to
few
become
years,
filming.
he's been in America traveling on the western seaboard, or on my side of the United States and Garrison side, doing a lot of these meet and greets. And he's only stayed on this side. I think he's went to New York twice and Florida once. But he's
CJ,
been
we
going
talked
to-
about that restraining order.
Yeah, how do you know all this information, man?
I
God.
follow him on Instagram, and I saw him in Austin, Texas. Fight me.
Follow him.
Is that
And like
them
I
trips that
said-
you be telling us that you're taking?
No. I told you it was not Ray Park. It was Sam Witwer, and I will stand by that restraining order and protection order. And protection order.
Fair.
Tackling people, I guess, is a bad thing in the middle of them all. But hey,
That's the only episode that CJ's ever gonna have to miss is when we have him on the episode. We're gonna have to CJ ain't gonna be on there. It'll mess up the restraining order. He can't have no contact. There's no contact.
no, it's a no contact order too, I guess.
I
Okay.
love you guys so much. You guys crack me up.
But yeah, that's what I think it is. I think he's there to train maybe Rosario Dawson and some of the other people in the Ahsoka series, or even because the Kenobi series is already done filming, so I don't think he would have been there in the last couple weeks to be training in that. But maybe Ahsoka, maybe they're starting the filming of Ahsoka, and yeah, and Dylan just brought up a good point. He could have been there before because he was doing a stand-in actor.
Yeah.
Or he could be there for Mandalorian season 3.
Ooh. Whatever's going on, I'm interested and I love it. And this episode was absolutely wonderful from start to finish. I'm very, very dehydrated. I cried so much.
I wish people could see my mouse on here. Like on the live.
Through all of these shows, we only ever see like this much of you.
Oh, there's a reason behind that. Y'all know the reason.
Anyway.
Y'all get me. I put my head to the side sometimes. But...
Oh, hello. Yay. Who is that stranger?
All I know is the microphone and the bandana and the glasses, and sometimes a hat.
Sometimes a hat. I do appreciate.
I always got something on my head. I got a receding hairline. It's like back here. I got to cover it up. You know, I'm old.
Nobody look at my giant forehead.
You got a LeBron James going on?
I got a 9 head. I ain't got a 4 head no more. Always cover my head. Nah, it ain't that bad. I'm pretty lucky. Honestly, at being 44 years old, like my little brother's only 40 and he's bald. So, you know, my older brother's bald. I'm 44 and I ain't bald yet. I'm doing pretty good.
Do you think if Jedi get receding hairlines, they can force will their hair to grow back?
Yes. I've already
That would be so
thought about
dope.
this. Yes.
I would switch to the light side for that.
I think the Sith would be able to do it too, though.
No, the Sith can't do healing.
I want Mace Windu with an afro, bro. I want Mace
That
Windu
would
with a
be
Pulp Fiction
awesome.
afro.
A young Mace Windu in
Yes.
the temple, just walking around with an afro.
I was thinking about that too. If Disney is trying to be politically correct and February is Black History Month, they should bring back Mace.
Yeah.
One of the episodes, this next episode, they should bring back Mace. I think that they should do that. That would be so dope. That would be
Boba
like
just shoots him instantly, though. That's all. That's literally.
Please don't. Please don't. It was a joke. Please don't bring back Mace.
No, bring back Mace. Mace is dope. I love Mace. That's one of the best Star Wars characters ever.
It'll be
People
5
stay
seconds.
dead, please.
It'll be a 5
Let
seconds,
them
and then he'll
stay
die.
dead. No.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. Thank you everybody for joining us in the chat this evening. It has been wild, ridiculous, and fun as always. This has been another wonderful episode of LightSaber Radio. Make sure you catch us on Saturday for our weekly show. We will be joined by Tuscan Radio this week, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, so excited to have them on, have a chat.
And we gotta. Did we ever decide what we're gonna talk about this weekend?
Han shot first.
Yeah, Han shot first. So this is one of the biggest controversies. So y'all really gonna have to turn into this one because this is gonna be a crazy episode.
It is going to be a very crazy episode. We are finally going to sit down and debate the conundrum, the thing that has irked the Star Wars fandom for centuries now. Han shot first. Did Han shoot first?
Yes.
Yes, he shot first.
I mean, yes, he shot
But why
first.
did George? But I think the biggest question is not that because we all know Han shot first. But why did George make it so important
Yes, why?
that Greedo shot at him at the same time?
Self-defense.
But yes,
We
for
can get
more
into
of
this
that
on
discussion,
Saturday.
Yeah.
for more of that discussion, join us on Saturday. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. Like this video if you liked it. Hit the notification bell to join our live shows. And as always, be safe, be kind. And from me and everybody here at LightSaber Radio, this is the way.
This is the way.
This is the way.
This is
Not the way.
I
As
can
you
put that with
wish.
a bit more conviction. This
Boba
is
Fett
the
is
way.
not the way. Boba Fett.
You do your way.
This is the way. All of you. All of you.
I rule with cuddles and love.
All right, guys. Peace.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to LSR. If you enjoyed the show, consider subscribing so you can be notified when new episodes are released. If you would like to be a guest on the show or just want to give us some feedback, feel free to email us. You can also reach out to us on all major social media platforms. They're linked in the show notes below. LightSaber Radio is produced by Pick Film Media and is a Swaycast original, starring Charlie Harwood, Garrison Turcott, CJ Elliott, and Carl McDaniel. And don't forget to join us next time for more adventures in a galaxy far, far away.